I was actually surprised I did not hear from you after this.
Oh, well, yeah, because of Spider-Man?
I was like, I like looked at it, I was like, oh, Spider-Man, and then I looked at my phone, and then I looked back at it, and then I looked at my phone, and I was like, where is Joe Brown?
Well, guess Joe's dead. That's what you thought?
That's what I thought. I was like, Joe Brown's definitely dead. I was like, he would definitely have sent me something. You would have been like,
yeah, that's a fair point. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on another steaming hot edition of Cup of Joe's. I'm your host, Joe Brown, joined by my best friend, Joe Perrion. Joe, good sir, how are you doing on this beautiful evening?
good, Brown. I'm good. Tired, but I'm good. And I should be trying to break that loop, but I'm here. So, that's a reference for later on.
I understand that reference. That's Deathloop that you're talking about.
Gotta break that loop. Thanks for laying it on thick, bro.
That's what I do. Anyway, so anyone listening should notice that Joe didn't ask me how I'm doing. So just
how are you doing, Joseph? I'm sorry. We have been talking for 30 minutes, not recording, and I've already asked you how your day was. I'm sorry that I forgot to ask you on the podcast.
You need to ask the audience to know. The audience needs to know how my day is.
Okay, audience, here. How do you think Joe Brown's day was? Take a vote in the polls or in the comments. Was it bad, good, or meh? I have a feeling it's going to be bad. So, Joe Brown, tell me how your day was.
Gotta be honest with you, Joe. I'm not having a Baja Blast right now, okay? Because, well, yes, technically I am drinking a Baja Blast literally this second.
Oh, God.
As I just took a sip of my Baja Blast. I made a major faux pas. Something completely embarrassing. And, you know, you should think less of me as a friend because of this, Joe. Last week was Crash Bandicoot's birthday. It was
oh my God,
Crash Bandicoot's 25th anniversary, okay? And I just completely whiffed, just dropped the ball.
I know. You texted me about it.
And we could have talked about it last week, and I just have to I have to live with it. You only get one 25th anniversary, Joe.
You know what we also could have talked about last week was the Sony showcase, but we couldn't have. No, we couldn't have unless you're a time traveler. Is that what you're telling me, Joe? Joe Brown, shut up! I told you that. God.
Oh, okay. Well, because it aired on Friday doesn't mean we recorded on Thursday, Joe. So no, we actually couldn't have because remember. We recorded. Crash Bandicoot's birthday was the next day, as well as the PlayStation Showcase. So we literally could not have done it if we tried. Don't you get me started on. You know what? We're gonna talking about this off the air. Right? This is not what people want to talk about. What they want us to talk about the PlayStation Showcase 2021 that happened last week that we could not have talked about last week. We're going to talk about that because there was a lot of really fun games. We have this article that actually ranked the reveals in hype order, and Joe has very big issues with it. And then Joe had a big tease earlier that he started playing Deathloop the other day, so he's going to have some first impressions and things on his experience playing Deathloop. So is that a fair assessment of what's on schedule for today, Joe?
Makes sense.
Okay,
makes sense.
So, let's get started with the PlayStation Showcase 2021. Happened last week, as I said. We have an article here from CBR.com listing, just to have it fresh in our heads, all the games. I didn't get to watch it live. I was working, but then I went back and I watched it afterwards, so I was very excited to see what was coming. I didn't have any expectations coming into it. But overall, before we go through each of the games and how they're ranked and stuff, what was the one thing you were the most excited from that, I guess, revealed or shown, whatever word you want to use? What was the thing you liked the most from the PlayStation Showcase show?
Do we really even have to stay dramatic? Like, if you come to this podcast, you know, like one of two things are going to be talked about on this podcast.
What are those?
Joe Brown, what are those one of two things that are going to be talked about?
Pokemans.
Yeah, and obviously Pokemans was not at this because it's Sony.
At
but
the
continue.
I'm drawing a blank. I'm
gonna reach through the internet and strangle you. The Joe Brown's favorite superhero, Spider-Man, is the other thing that we constantly talk about on this thing, and they showcased the second game.
Listen.
It was. Shh, I'm talking. It was amazing. They got my boy Venom up in this piece. We got Miles. We got Peter, and I'm just like, I'm ready for it. I'm sitting here. I'm ready for it.
Listen, in my defense, there could have been an alternate world where you were super psyched for God of War Ragnarok.
Like, I am super psyched. We will talk about that.
But so I didn't want to be a jerk and assume that your number one answer would have been Spider-Man 2. That would have been a jerk move out of me.
But here's the thing. When we talked about it earlier, did I mention it? No, I mentioned Spider-Man.
That's true.
Context clues.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm hyped for Spider-Man. I'll just give you my list that I'm super hyped. I'm hyped for Spider-Man. I'm hyped for God of War. I'm hyped for Ghostwire Tokyo, and I'm hyped for Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I'm hyped for them. Those are the games that I'm super excited about because I love those games.
That's good. I'm happy for you.
No, you're not. Anyway.
Where
are we going with this conversation? How are we going with this conversation?
So this is an article on CBR.com by Sage Ashford, who ranked every announcement from the PlayStation Showcase by hype level. So you can start off low as the least exciting things and then go up to 1, which is the most exciting announcement. So we're going to get started with Kid Amnesia. Exhibition is a game celebrating Rodeo Head. So Kid Amnesia Exhibition. Have fun, hipsters. I hope you enjoy your Radiohead video game. But I'm pretty much in lockstep that was the least exciting thing revealed.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, no. I got nothing to add to this. This looks weird.
What's your favorite Radiohead song?
I don't listen to Radiohead.
Yeah,
so I can't tell you.
Say, I don't know if I. Yeah, I know they're a gigantic band. I know it's like
they're a big band. They're cool like a jam band, from what I remember.
I know Chris. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's still true, but back in the day, they were Christopher Nolan's favorite band. So don't ask me why I know that. I know a lot about the man.
Interesting. Anyway, moving on to the next one.
Yes. So I believe it's called Chia. I apologize if it's not. I think the T is silent. It's either Chia or Chia. I think it's Chia. Comes to PlayStation instead of Google Stadia. So this was like a family friendly game where like definitely has some hints of Breath of the Wild in it. Like you can see in the photo, Joe, that the girl's like using a hang glider and stuff. But it says Chia was meant to be a title that was only coming to PC and Stadia a year ago, but since Stadia has struggled to find its footing and it has decided it doesn't need original content, the game will instead be coming to PlayStation and the Epic Games Store. Chia puts the player in the role of Chia, a young girl who can take control of any animal or object and use them to explore the archipelago around her. I hope I said that right.
Wait, hold on. Because that's a very big thing.
She like goes around as like her soul or whatever, and like she go into a turtle, and then she could go into a boar or whatever. Like I don't know.
Or a banana. Like it said animals, and then it tried to sneak it in there and object. Excuse me. Are you telling me I could go from being a frog to then just being a banana? Is this what we're talking about?
It's got some Mario Odyssey vibes too, and it's kid friendly and stuff. I'm not too interested in it, but it does look cool at least.
Yeah, I'm not that interested. It looks interesting. It looks like it's a step in the right direction.
Up next is Alan Wake Remastered. Brings the acclaimed game to PlayStation for the first time. So that's right. It was Xbox and PC before. So that actually is a big deal. I understand why they announced it.
That is a huge deal. That was a Xbox exclusive.
Oh, so you agree? Games that have not been on other platforms being announced for that platform is a big deal.
My God.
Oh, so you agree? Did you like my Regina George impression there? You know that meme?
Yeah, I do. Continue, Joseph.
I know our friend Ted is super excited, but he loves Alan Wake. That's one of his favorite games ever, so he'll be excited to play the remastered version of it. Up next, number 10 on the list. Joe, take it away.
I don't want to.
Why?
No, what you
do you not have? Is it because you don't have the article up? Is that why?
No.
That was because I hate you so much. I knew it. I knew the moment that you said you didn't want it. Because up next is Tiny Tina's Wonderland, you jerk. That's a game you were excited for.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that game.
Did you pull the article up yet?
Yeah, it's up. I was reading something. I'm reading a recipe on how to cook something for this weekend.
Okay. All is forgiven, Joe.
I'm excited for this game. They showed the same thing that they showed like earlier throughout the week. Like there's nothing new. They're just like, hey, check this out, and I'm like, hey, I can dig it. I'm very excited for it. It's very. I played the first one, the DLC that they had for Borderlands 2 for I think it was like Dragon's Keep. That one was emotional, mainly because you're trying to save Roland, and that's like the whole thing, and it has like a breakdown at the end of it. But I'm excited for it. I also love D&D, so it's like whole thing is just like my shtick.
Yeah, I like that in the trailer. I know we've seen stuff before, like at E3, they showed off the game and stuff, but apparently this was the first time that it had no release date or gameplay until the Sony PlayStation Showcase. So that's why it was a big deal to include, because they showed off gameplay and stuff. And they gave the release date of March 25th, which, thank God, is not this fall, because we already have way too much we have to play, Joe.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
The other thing that's great, because I don't know if you saw the trailer or not, but they actually had a Baby Metal song, like, the Japanese rock band Baby Metal. They actually have a Baby Metal song in the trailer, and I was watching. I was like, "Oh my God, it's Baby Metal!" In Tiny Tina's Wonderland. It was so cool.
It fits her whole aesthetic too. It's like that. If you're gonna like give anything to Tiny Tina,
that's
it's like
true.
Baby Metal.
That's a good point. Yeah. So I'm excited for this one. I know you'll like it. My brother's a big Borderlands fan, and he loves Tiny Tina, so he's gonna play it. So I'm happy for you, Borderland peoples.
Woot woot. I'm going to cover the next one because I know you don't really. I don't know if you're actually into this game.
No, I'm not. I'm just happy you have the article open.
Oh my God! Relax. Relax. I'm excited for Ghostwire Tokyo. It's been a minute since we've seen anything else about this game, and it's cool that we actually got to see some gameplay this time. We got to see the enemies in action coming at the character. We saw what your character kind of looks like. We kind of saw a little bit of what's going on, but not entirely knowing what's happening yet. But I'm excited to jump into this game at one point because it looks really fun, and plus the whole aesthetic to it is interesting. It's creepy, but it's not creepy. I'm excited to play this game.
It is interesting that this is the first appearance since 2019.
Yeah,
wow.
The whole the Ghostwire Tokyo presentation at E3 that year had that had that presenter. It was this
lady.
She's
like, it's spooky.
She doesn't even work for the company anymore. I think maybe a few months after everything at E3, she left the company.
Oh really?
And it was like what? But yeah, that's the last time we've seen anything about it. So should be cool.
So up next on the list, I would personally have ranked Project Eve much higher than this article does. The Project Eve was the game I was most excited for, not named Spider-Man, that they showed at the showcase. If I'm being completely honest, this is a lot of people thought it was going to be Parasite Eve, which I guess they're making that one or a remake of or whatever. So that's what they thought, but no, it's called Project Eve. You'll have to watch the trailer, Joe. It's from this company called Shift Up, or the studio Shift Up, and it's got awesome action, Bayonetta style action with some fun JRPG flair to it, and it looks like it has awesome music. The action, it literally looks amazing. But so Joe and I were actually trying to do some research, trying to find this company if they'd worked on anything, and it looks like they're relatively new. They have some big mobile games out there, including a game named after Beyonce, and
that game is still a project. It's not out yet. They have one mobile game out. They have one in the works, and then they have this AAA game coming in the works as well. So they essentially only have one playable game at the moment.
Right. Then the mobile game was called Destiny Child. I didn't want to ruin my joke, but I had to for anyone who was confused. They're like, "Oh, Beyonce is making a Korean mobile game," and that's the other cool thing that we noticed from this studio Shift Up is actually a Korean studio working with Sony here. Not where you'd assume a lot of video games get made in Japan and America, right? So it's cool that a Korean studio is making such a big project for them. But yeah, here's the game studio. The game studio is famous for mobile games, launching popular real-time battler Destiny Child way back in 2016. Project Eve will mark the studio's first title for consoles, but it boasts talent from other AAA hits like Kim Hyung-tae, who was an artist on Blade and Soul. Kim now leads the project as its director. So after we recorded, Joe, you gotta watch the trailer. You could tell once you see it, you're gonna agree. Oh, this is right up my alley. This is my type of fun action Japanese, I guess Korean RPG style game.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna check it out. I kind of like the Bayonetta series. I was never good enough to play them.
Yeah.
But if it's a game for Bayonetta fans, I'm sure it's similar in the style of how the fighting happens, and I'll check it out when we.
Yeah.
I'll check it out later.
Intense action.
Intense action.
Now, why don't you talk about your favorite series? Because that's up next on the list.
You mean my least favorite series?
No, I know what I said.
My least favorite series. just so we can be clear, Joe Brown, Uncharted is an okay game. I just feel like it is a huge cutscene that you play through. That's what I feel like Uncharted is. I don't feel like there's a lot to it. I feel like it's just a big cutscene.
So how much Uncharted have you played in your life?
I've played the first one and the fourth one.
Fully?
Not fully.
Give me an hour range. 5 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours.
Maybe 6.
Okay.
Each. 6.
Okay. Because
that's a good amount to play.
That is a good amount. There is definitely some truth to your statement. There's some truth to it. But I wouldn't agree that it's fully correct, because there's a lot that happens in the gameplay that is also related to the story. So
that's cool. I'm once again allowed to have an opinion about it, and you're allowed to have your opinion about it. I still think that it's not the greatest game, and that's fine. Because guess what? It's coming to PC now, which I still think is not something. Well, I guess the whole.
But Alan Wake.
Stop. The whole conversation we were having earlier was, I thought this was mainly just about games that were coming out, new games, not just overall announcements. And then I read what the actual title of the article was, which was all of the announcements that were made. Because I didn't even pay attention to the Alan Wake one until you actually talked about it.
Right.
5 minutes ago. So I guess I can understand why people are hyped about it. But at the same time, if it's coming to PC, I don't know. I thought that most of the hype around the whole Uncharted series is it was a PlayStation thing. So if you're really into it, you got a PlayStation. So I guess that was the whole thing. I didn't think people who were PC gamers for hardcore would kind of care about Uncharted, because there are similar games that are on PC to Uncharted that I can't name off the top of my head, but they're similar. Not Uncharted. They are similar to Uncharted.
Hey. PC gamers like good games too, so that's why they're excited for the Uncharted series. Yeah, obviously this isn't that big a deal to me, since I have played every Uncharted game, so I don't need to play it on PC. I don't need to play it on PC 6 years later.
It's 6 years. That was my whole thing. It's been 6 years. it's not even like a remastered of the game. It's just like, here's the game. Like, at least with Alan Wake, it's like a remastering of the game.
I
Oh,
I don't want to do this. I was going to say, can you please read? Can you read for the class, Joe?
Don't be rude. Do not be rude.
They're putting 4 and Lost Legacy, which was the side game that took place with 4, which Lost Legacy was a really good game as well. They're putting it together, remastering it, and releasing it on PS5 and PC. That's why it's a big deal. But it's not coming till early 2022. It seems odd.
Well, it seems like
this is just something you could just drop. It doesn't seem like it needs to be in a big presentation. You know what I mean? Like, I need to know that this is coming out in, am I counting right, 7 months or something?
Yeah.
Like, that seems like weird.
I think so. I don't know. Like, I think, as like these companies do, I'm sure it's just a placeholder that during a time that they don't have anything happening, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just drop it in the middle of this."
Right.
So we have something happening. But who knows? Like, great for Uncharted coming to PC, but I don't know. Not my cup of tea.
So up next is Gran Turismo 7 finally gets a release date. Now this is interesting because I was actually watching along with like what do you call them on like YouTube, or like the reaction style videos, right? Where someone, like, I was watching Kind of Funny's reaction to the showcase, so they were all watching in live and stuff, and they have Gran Turismo 7 on it, and it's on there forever. It's like the longest trailer I've ever seen in my life, and then there's no release date, and it's like, why would you waste all of our time with that super long trailer and not show a release date? And then they apparently tweeted out after the video was shown what the release date was instead of including it in the showcase. Like, very confusing.
That's some very 2000-esque marketing there.
That doesn't
that's like
make any sense.
That is definitely like a Cloverfield type-esque marketing.
But
oh my god.
So I'm definitely not going to get the new one. Just, I don't have time to get into a racing game. I did, however, I want to say it was Gran Turismo 5 on the PS3. I could be totally wrong. Could have been 4. Don't kill me for whichever one it was, either 4 or 5. My brother and I, we did put a lot of time into that iteration of Gran Turismo back in the day. So I'm happy for that fan base that they're getting a new game.
Heck yeah.
Because I would say I'm a Gran Turismo guy more than a Forza guy. I hope that doesn't ruin our friendship, Joe.
I don't play racing games that much, so it's whatever. I don't care.
Okay, cool. Up next, Forspoken, a new game. Trying to remember off the top of my head the studio name, which I can't find it. It's not in the article, but this is like kind of like an isekai, like in anime, where like someone goes into another world or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? That genre of anime. So from here, I'll just read off. Forspoken is about a young girl named Frey, a street smart New Yorker. I tried to say like a New Yorker would. I didn't do very well. Who finds herself.
Just you talking sounds like it. I've learned from like other people from me talking, and you sound like me. We just sound like we're from there, so they don't even need.
Well, we're from New Jersey, so we're right there, essentially.
Yeah.
So sorry. She's a New Yorker who finds herself transported to the world of Athia. There, she gains magical powers along with a new friend in a sentient bracelet. Much of this had been known before, but here fans finally got a look at the game's world and Frey's goals in Athia, where she's fighting a group of powerful rulers known as Tanta. This is the thing that's important. Written by Amy Hennig and Gary Whitta, Forspoken appears to be a different way of approaching JRPGs, one that merges both Eastern and Western talent together. So it's a JRPG with Western minds behind it. Amy Hennig, famously from the Uncharted series, and Gary Whitta, a huge writer, both gaming and movies and stuff. Gary Whitta wrote Rogue One, and he's worked on games and other, the Book of Eli and stuff like that, and he's big into gaming now, and he writes games and stuff. So having like a Star Wars writer and Square Enix come together, Joe, that's pretty exciting for me. And the game looks gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely. The game looks really good from some of the clips that I saw. But yes, it's I'm I'm hoping that Square Enix does a good job with this from what it looks like, because they lately, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Joe Brown, because
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Square Enix had I feel like they hype up their stuff a lot, and then it doesn't meet the hype that they're going for.
You're not wrong. There's definitely some hits and misses when it comes to Square. You're not wrong.
Yeah. All right. You got to do the next one, because it's yours.
You know what? We're not gonna play this rankings games, because there's no way on God's green earth that Spider-Man 2 being announced is the fourth most exciting thing that happened in this freaking showcase. So we agree, Joe?
We agree. Okay. You want to talk about it later? We're going
to talk about it later, because it's clearly number one. So up next is God of War Ragnarok.
Yes, picking up literally at the end of the 2018 God of War. We are following Kratos and his son, again, who we find out, if you haven't played the game, this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, you find out that your son is Loki in the whole Norse
mythology. You'll get there.
Thank you. Norse mythology. And you and your son, Atreus, are going back out there, having to deal with the issues you stirred up in the first one. From what it looks like, because the way the first one ends is Thor is knocking at your door. You killed his kids, and now he's here to kill your kid.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so that's where I was so confused, because it has been a while. Because I think God of War was that also 2016? No, 2018, right? 2018. Right.
Yeah.
So I had thought we killed Thor already when I saw Thor was there, but we killed Thor's son in the first one.
We killed both of his sons.
Okay, so that makes much more sense, because when I saw it, I was like, wait, didn't I kill Thor already? But no.
No, yeah. So there was images of Thor, and he's rocking the dad bod, and I'm about it.
I think a dad bod is not even doing it justice.
Like, oh man, let me see if I can do this real quick while we're talking. But like, not only are we dealing with Thor, we're also dealing with, cannot remember for the life of me, the woman who we killed her son.
Oh yeah, she was badass.
She's back. In this one, trying to wreak havoc on us now, and I believe I can't remember what we're actually trying to do in this game. I was too taken aback by all of the things that were happening, because the game looks really good.
Well, Ragnarok is coming, and I'm assuming Kratos is trying to stop it. Is what I would imagine.
I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to cause it, because it's the end of the world for them, but not necessarily for him. There you go, Joe Brown. That's for you.
Wait. Listen, I don't want to besmirch the good name of Thor. All I'm saying, that's not a dad bod. All I'm saying is Thor definitely went to Krispy Kreme after he got his vaccine to get his free donut. That's all I'm saying.
This Thor has a power lifter body. Like, this is what power lifters look like.
Yes, he's a bit chunky,
and that's fine. He could get it. He did. He did get it over the place.
At minimum 2 times, because he created
at minimum
2 children.
2 times. But I'm very excited to see what this game has to offer. It was really fun the first time playing it. I might even go back to play it again.
It is free on the PlayStation now or whatever. It's in that collection of free PS4 games on PS5.
Well, there you go. But it looks like I'm excited for this game. I'm excited for it.
My favorite thing with Thor is that he has the red hair, like the traditional Norse mythology red hair of Thor. Because obviously there's been a million iterations of him where sometimes he is red, and obviously the most iconic, he's a very handsome Australian blonde man with in the Marvel version. So I loved people freaking out. Like, 1, why is he fat? Or no, let's say 2, why is he fat? And more importantly, 1, why is he not blonde? I'm like, oh boy, you don't know what you're talking about. Because Thor's main depiction is him as a redhead. That's like his main depiction.
Yeah, like, I think a lot of people do forget that Thor is not a Marvel character. Thor is actually like a literal character in a religion from people that believed in it long ago.
I can't remember because I actually looked at that. I fought with a friend who thought it was dumb that he didn't have blonde hair. I'm like, no, that's Thor. That's blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's not. He was like, like, prove me. Like that type of argument. So I just quick Google search, and it was something like it was a Stanley article where it said why we changed Thor's look, and like he like pretty much said that he thought blonde looked better. And that they wanted to make their own version of Thor. So it was deliberately not a redhead, so that people, when they saw that Thor, they knew it was the Marvel Thor.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I won that argument, straight dunked on him.
Straight dunked on him. Clapped them cheeks right there in 4K. Yeah, I'm trying to find another. I've literally typed Thor into Google, and I'm trying to find a picture that isn't Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
And it's not working. So, it's gonna give up. All right. Here we got the next one. Short clip of the next game. I can understand the hype for it, but I didn't really see. I don't feel the hype for it at the moment until they show me more about it. But we're finally getting a Wolverine game. Well, no, we already got one. We're getting a new Wolverine game. It's made by Insomniac.
That's the big news. That's the big news.
Yeah,
Insomniac's making a Wolverine game.
And that's going to be pretty exciting, but I want to see more of it before I decide to say that I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think the trailer is really good because it definitely has some of those like Logan-y vibes. You know what I mean? Like more mature Wolverine. Yeah. It's not like a big yellow jumpsuit spandex Wolverine style game. It looks like it's going to be more grounded, more mature, gritty Wolverine style. So I think people are going to appreciate that. And then the fact that it was Insomniac, like I was freaking out. Like I could live with that Wolverine. I'm really not that invested in the character, and I don't really like the X-Men characters too much in general. So like people who love Wolverine like love Wolverine. You know what I mean? It's like it's the way that we love Spider-Man. That's how some people are with Wolverine. So this is a big deal. But the fact that it's Insomniac, while Insomniac made Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, the new Ratchet and Clank, now they're making Wolverine, and they're making Spider-Man 2 at the same time, relatively close to each other. Like, I know Spider-Man 2 is coming first, but they are, kind of both in development. That's like, once Insomniac made that, once they made that Sony money when they became first party, like they must have like people working 24/7 on games at Insomniac.
They're like, listen, we got to keep this money going. What's an idea for a game? I need it now. Wolverine, got it. Just keep moving on.
So, do you think is this going to be an isolated superhero video game from Insomniac, or is there going to be an Insomniac Marvel superhero video game universe? Like, is this going to cross over with the Spider-Man boys?
I don't know if it'll cross over. It's too early to tell. Like, we're only getting the second rendition of the Spider-Man that they've created, and we've already changed what Spider-Man has looked like. Right. In their game to match the movie version. So I don't know. I can't tell you right now.
Oh my God, why did you remind me? I'm so tilted from that. I totally forgot they did that. Oh, why did they do that, Joe? So stupid.
Oh, just a quick Spider-Man talk. In all of the What If series, Spider-Man is not voiced by Tom Holland.
I thought he was credited on IMDb.
He is not. I believe Tom Holland does not voice Spider-Man. Because there was an article about it. Talking about how are they already recasting Spider-Man again.
Oh, Jesus. No, let's not. I think it would be cool if they make a Wolverine, like Insomniac's Wolverine, Insomniac's Iron Man, Insomniac's the Hulk or something like that. You know what I mean? I think it would be cool if there was this Insomniac superhero world, and I would trust them to make it because they make great games.
They do make good games so far that we've seen. So I'm hoping that they keep making good games.
All right, so up next is number 1 on this list, but in reality, we all know it's number 2. So that's how it is. The second most exciting announcement from the PlayStation Showcase: Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic is being remade. Now, this is gigantic. One, it's a remake, not a remaster. They're not adding pixels or graphics or anything like that to the 20-year-old game. They are straight up remaking the original game. So there was some confusion at first. Some people thought it was going to be a new KOTOR game. Some people thought, it was like it was a remaster or stuff. It is a remake, brand new, of the original Knights of the Old Republic, which is considered, an iconic game, a fantastic game. And it's PS5 and PC exclusive.
Boom.
Meaning the game that was an Xbox exclusive game, KOTOR 1, is now a Sony exclusive as a remake.
Really?
That's crazy.
That is, yeah, pretty big. Some big stuff, Brown.
Did you play the original?
No.
Oh. Well, I would say you have to, but you don't have to, because now you can just play the remake.
I've seen a lot of stuff about it. Like, I know a lot about the game. I've just never played it.
There's a pretty big twist, Joe.
Oh, I know what the twist is.
I can't wait to relive that twist in HD with so many pixels.
So many pixels. So many pixels. All right.
Wait, hold on, real quick, Joe. It says the AAA title with a budget of $70 million for this game.
Can I just have that? Instead of making the game, just give me them.
You'll do something better with it. Did you die, Joe? Oh my god, I lost Joe.
Boom, lost. You lost me.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry for the dead air. I didn't know what happened there. I was scared.
I was also scared.
There's only one game left, Joe. You can have it.
Oh no, you're really giving it to me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. All right, we're getting back into New York City with our good boy Peter Parker and Miles Morales in it. We're going to get into it. We're going to do it. We're going to be web slinging all over that city. We're going to be just swinging, webbing, and chilling. And I'm so excited that Spider-Man 2 is announced. And we saw a little bit of it. And we got a sneak peek at our main villain, or maybe not. It's just they showed someone. And Joe Brand, I'll let you have that one.
Well, if you played through the game and watched through the credits and saw the post-credit scene, you wouldn't be surprised. But it's Venom. We got Venom.
We got Venom. And it's probably, I'm not excited about it, but it's probably going to be Harry Osborn. Like,
yeah, well, movies. Did you not see the...
I saw the ending.
Yeah, it's Harry is in the tank and he has the symbiote like shooting out and stuff.
I know, but I wanted it to be, what's the guy's name? Is it Brock? I think it's Brock, right?
Eddie Brock, yeah.
Eddie Brock. I wanted it to be him because I like Harry as a character.
You want it to be Tom Hardy?
Yeah, I did want it to be Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
But I wanted, because isn't Harry the Hobgoblin? Isn't he in like the original series? Isn't he the Hobgoblin?
Well, I mean, this Insomniac definitely taking liberties with a lot of things in their series. Yeah, they also turned they turned MJ from a supermodel to a hard cutting journalist. So they definitely didn't follow everything to the letter with their world.
Laura Bailey made that role amazing. Right? I don't want to hear. She made the character amazing.
I love that you caught yourself there. I'm so proud of you, Joe. You stopped yourself.
God, don't even. I'm going to tell her that you said that. I know you have a picture of it.
No, I love Laura Bailey. I thought she was great, and I love Laura Bailey, and I thought she was great as MJ. I'm saying, just because Harry is not being Hobgoblin, it's like, well, they threw that idea of sticking to the original story out the window right away. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was just saying I was hoping that he would be like he wouldn't be Venom. Like he's in there with the symbiote, but he wouldn't like continue to be it. So we would learn something else out. But it always makes me sad when two friends are enemies. You know, makes me sad.
What experience do you have? Is that us? Is it us?
No. I was like from the other Spider-Man, like, you know, Harry becomes like the Hobgoblin.
Right.
They reconnect near the end, but like, because we didn't even get to really see Harry like at all in the game, which made sense why we didn't.
Right.
But like now we're just gonna see him as a bad dude, and I was like, I wanted to see Harry and like shenanigans.
I'm sure the writers are gonna do a good enough job to make it not just a bad dude. We'll probably feel some sympathy for him.
Oh, of course, he's sick.
The other big thing in that trailer where you heard like the Russian accent or whatever in the shadows.
Oh, I think I missed that.
Means Craven is coming. Well, we all assume is going to be Craven, hopefully, to Spider-Man 2. And Craven is a very, you know, fan-beloved villain that Spider-Man has to go up against, and that would be pretty cool if he was there.
Well, here's my lack of Spidey knowledge. I don't even know who that character is.
Oh, Craven is you would love Craven. There's actually like an iconic storyline with Craven's Last Hunt or something like that. Craven, Google that for me. I think it's Craven's Last Hunt or something like that. It's like a huge storyline. Craven is essentially this like I don't want to say poacher because it's not what he is, but he essentially like fights big animals and kills big animals and like, you know, goes around the world killing dangerous animals and things. So he's an animal hunter, for lack of a better word. I can't think of the word right now, what his title is. And so obviously Spider-Man, a spider is an animal. So he's the world's greatest hunter. And so his character arc is him trying to hunt down Spider-Man.
That seems pretty cool.
Yeah, he's pretty badass.
He looks pretty badass.
Yeah, so you should read that storyline. That's a great story. I'm not going to spoil it for you because there's something that's pretty big that happens in it.
All right, I'll check it out. I'll definitely have to take a look at it.
So the other thing, as we just quickly wrap up Spider-Man here, is Spider-Man 2. There are two main characters, obviously Peter and Miles. When you see in the trailer, it's not game footage, it's a trailer, right? So they're like kind of tag teaming up and, you know, alley-ooping each other with the villains and having a good time with their action. Do you think this is going to be like you can just play as both Peter and Miles? Because they both have movesets. They both have their own games. They both have their own things. And like it's like, oh, you know, I'm playing as Peter and then I hit down on the D-pad. Now I switch to Miles. Or do you think it's going to be more segmented, like here, like we're playing as Peter in this chapter and then we play as Miles in another chapter or something?
I think it could be segmented. I was thinking that they would do, it was very like brief, but they would do what they did with the Arkham series where like you were fighting with Batman and Robin in certain parts. Mm-hmm. But you're right, they did do like a crazy amount of stuff. They have like a whole other game for Miles Morales. So I could imagine it being like maybe a co-op type deal.
They did say it's going to be a single player game, but
okay, then I missed that.
But that like we still don't know if you'll be able to freely switch between both Spideys at any time you want. You know,
I feel like it would be better if it was segmented, so you didn't have to like do that.
I agree. Yes, that's what I want. That's why I brought it up. That's why I wanted to. So my opinion, which means squat, because obviously I'm not working at Insomniac, but if they were to ask me what I would enjoy more, what was so great and so important to Insomniac Spider-Man being such a success is the game is very segmented. It's very like a story, like a comic book. Like you have A, and then you have to do B, then you have to do C, then you have to do D. And yeah, some of those things were annoying, like the escort missions with MJ and the escort mission with Miles. But you couldn't continue the game without doing that escort mission. So if that's how Insomniac, and they did it with Miles Morales too. So if that's how they make their Spider-Man games, like why would you break your, what's the word, like break break from your ways of we tell a story like ABCD, like, you know, congruent storyline, and you have gameplay with it, like why would you break that to just like let you switch between Peter and Miles every other punch? Because like a lot of people want it to be free form. Like I can be I start off the fight as Peter, and then like you're playing like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or something, you know what I mean, where you just switch between the characters. Like you punch this guy and then swap to the next one and punch the other guy. Like a lot of people want that style, but like that doesn't really feel like the Insomniac Spider-Man games to me.
Yeah, no, I kind of hope it's not like that, but it would also be cool. It would also give the game like a cool way of like handling missions differently. It's like, oh, you can go like the normal Spider-Man route, or you can do like the Miles Morales route, which allows you to use like that would be cool. Like give the game like more replayability. But part of me is like that sounds cool, but another part of me is like that doesn't sound like the greatest idea either.
The other thing, sorry, Joe. The other thing, like. So if you can just choose whenever you want to be Miles or Peter, it's tough to tell a story that way, right? Because you're going to have scenes where Peter's at feast, or Peter's at like or Mary Jane's at an office or something trying to investigate things where you can't switch between people. Like that wouldn't make sense thematically from a story. And then, excuse me, sorry for coughing. The other big thing is if this is a real thing, Joe, if I could switch between either Peter whenever I wanted, I'm just going to be Peter Parker the whole time, the same way as other people will just be Miles Morales the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like that happens in games all, like think about every like action game that gives you 15 million guns and then, or, combo abilities, and you just use the one setting that you like the whole time, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of want them to have it in segments where I also feel like maybe during like the missions where you're like fighting bad guys, you and Miles Morales are working together, and maybe in some missions you're mainly playing Peter, but Miles is there to like do other things, and then maybe you're switching, or maybe mid mission it has you switching, and like Peter wants to go set Peter up for this other part, and like kind of like swinging back and forth during the mission. Get it? Swinging back and forth like Spider-Man.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Joe.
Thank you.
Also like to point out there's a typo in here. It says Ratchet and Clank Rigged Apart instead of Rift Apart. So come on, we got to do some proofreading here.
No, that's what the game's actually called.
Oh, okay, my bad. It's actually Rigged Apart, not Rift Apart.
It's Rigged Apart. They spelt it wrong on all of the boxes and all of the articles they've ever wrote, except for this one. This is where the truth hurts sometimes, right? And we're getting it in this article.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, that's it. That's all I got.
Good, not good, because I'm always down to listen to your opinion. So I just meant good, as in good. We have talked a good bunch about the PlayStation Showcase. Overall, it was really exciting. PlayStation stays on top. Like, big announcements, God of War, Spider-Man. Like there was a meme of like, the Wolverine holding that photo meme where people were like he's sad, he's missing people. It was Wolverine, and he had a green outfit instead of the yellow because he was like an Xbox player. So it was Xbox Wolverine holding Spider-Man 2 and Insomniac Wolverine being PlayStation exclusives. He was sad. Couldn't have it.
So sad.
But that's enough for the PlayStation Showcase. Joe, one of your most anticipated games of the year has just released in Deathloop. And while you haven't played too much of it, you've at least gotten enough for some first impressions. So I'm going to hand the mic over to you to talk about Deathloop.
All right. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I'll give you a brief rundown of what I've gathered so far from it. It's made by Arcane. Which is the same studios that made Dishonored, and if you've played those games and then you pick up this game, you're gonna definitely notice that this game is very similar to Dishonored, in the sense of like you have powers and you carry guns and you can use a sword instead, and like all these different things and different like mobility ways. There's multiple different ways to approach every mission that you go on. There's all these different paths. You can go stealth. You can go guns blazing. It's a very interesting kind of like, what is it, like similarity that they stuck with, and that's what people really liked about the Dishonored games, and it's something I enjoyed about them too, is like the ability to do whatever you want to do without it affecting largely the gameplay. Another cool thing that I've noticed in the game is you can play in single player mode or you can play in multiplayer mode. And we've talked about this before, that in multiplayer mode, another player or the AI will hunt you down as the other assassin that you're talking to, who's named Julia. Because you as the main character, Colt, are trying to, as I said earlier, break the loop of the day. Another interesting thing that I've found out while starting to play it is that some missions are only accessible during certain times of the day. And every time you do a mission, it changes. Like, so when you complete a mission, it will then go to the next part of the day. So you go from the morning, you go to like midday, afternoon, and night. So as you play through your missions, you will unlock other missions that you will learn about, and it'll be like, you can only do this on this level at like midday. You can only do this on this level at night. And like, so it makes you have to die to restart the day to get going. Okay. Yeah. I haven't gone through the entire day yet. I just got to the night part, like, which is the ending of the day. So I had to stop because I had to get ready for bed and go to work. But it's fun. I'm interested in it. Another great thing that you can do in the game is you can dual wield guns, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And I've only gotten the one power that you don't like, Joe Brown, which is, I think it's Revise, where you die and it goes back like 10 minutes or 5 minutes from where you died, mm-hmm. and you could do it again. That's the first power that I've gotten. I don't know if you can get other ones at different points, but I haven't gotten anything else yet. But I'm really having fun with it. The story is great. It looks really good, and I'm excited to keep playing it. There's a lot of things to uncover here, a lot of things to collect, and all of the characters are really cool, and there's a lot of witty commentary in the game from like other of the NPCs, and it's just a fun game. Okay. That's my review. Play it. It's fun.
I mean, well, it's your first impressions. It's not your review because you haven't. We'll get there.
Review of the first 3 hours.
There you go. Your first impressions, Joe. So, what is interesting, because I was looking up some reviews while at work, just to see what other people were saying. And IGN actually gave Deathloop a 10 out of 10. So it was listed among the modern 10 out of 10s on their site. And this is because I thought was, very interesting. Because this game has a lot of hype behind it. So the fact that for them at least, and it looks like for you, it will live up to that hype is a good news. So this is their verdict. Despite its seemingly endless complexities, Deathloop is one of the most confidently designed games I've ever played. Arcane Studios has crafted a world made of ideas linked by meaningful connections. Time influences space, space influences tactics, and tactics influence loadouts. Its unique, high-concept ideas around time loops and nonlinear investigation work are implemented with elegance, making its system feel effortless to navigate, learn from, and ultimately master, a new high watermark for Arcane and developers of similar games to aspire to. Deathloop is a game like no other. That is crazy high praise. Not only are they saying that it's Arcane's best game that they've ever made, but they're saying there's literally like no other game like it is. It's in a league of its own in its games, like, I guess, style, its genre.
It is very different. It is very different from any other game that I've played. I'll give you that. It's something that I feel some people should just, if they're into the Arcane style, you're going to be into this game. I'm going to tell you right now from what I've played. You're going to be into it.
And that 10 out of 10 is from Matt Purslow on IGN. I always want to give credit on articles. It's the right thing to do. You know what I'm talking about, Joe?
I know what you're talking about, bro.
Okay, so thank you for letting us know how you're enjoying Deathloop. I'm sure you're going to give us more progress in the upcoming weeks on the pod, and once you get further in, hopefully, I hope like you go for like the platinum, I guess. Well, I don't know what it's called on PC games, because platinum's for PlayStation, the completionist thing where you like play a bunch of different times, and it looks like you have to memorize locations on the map and stuff for the different times of day, like you were talking about. So I'm happy that this game is like holding up to our expectations so far.
Yeah, it's definitely a good time. I'm gonna play a lot of it. I'm gonna do it.
I don't want to hold you for any longer, Joe, because I want you to go start playing Deathloop. So why don't you just take us home?
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's been great. I've been your host, Joe Perry, and accompanied by my best friend, Joseph Brown, and we'll catch you in the next episode